welcome to the Neville Richards Premier League wrap and preview, Week 5, Week 6, Mark Hayes and the beautifully coiffed Matt Milne. How did you survive?
Hello, Hazy. Yes, it was looking a bit nerve-wracking there for a while with the Tornadoes having their most number of players play for the event. So I'm tipping that they were sort of coming out to try and see the locks go. But no, my prediction come true. So the hair's safe for another week.
I had Ticketmaster and Ticketek and all them knocking down my door. I was going to be able to sell billions of tickets to watch you get lopped.
Well, the rumour was that you'd already had a meal set up here, and for people to come down and watch, we were going to do a live showing of this video. But alas, the Crusaders come up with the goods and live to fight another day.
And for those really astute viewers, we're actually in a bit of light today because we're doing it a lot earlier because I thought we won't be stoned by the hordes of Milne hair removalists.
Yes, my daughter was keen to come and shave it as well, so if there is some colouring of the hair to be done as well, I think she's keen to do that. So we'll see what the next 8-10 rounds leaves us for.
Well, I know there's at least one person very keen to have a bet with you maybe about different facial hair and head hair.
Okay, I haven't heard that one.
Oh, well, we'll get to the bottom of this. And before we get going, I want to thank Julie Milne. Just an outstanding performance. Thanks, Julie. This is the best CC and dry I've ever had. Way too good for David. What was the actual score there?
I think Julie's converted score come back to 30, but she did have a 9 on the 5th hole. Ooh. And David was 26, and apparently he's had about 40 putts, and his putting woes still continue.
Thanks, David.
He did concede with about 7 holes to go, I hear, via text message. So,
is that right?
Yeah, conceded.
Thanks, David. You're a good man. I appreciate it. Now, look, Matty, there was some amazing scores. Let's go to that key match, the bottom of the table clash that kept your hair intact.
Yeah, so Crusaders finished with 160 points and defeated the Tornadoes on 153. Actually, it was a quite close tussle there. For the Crusaders, led by the ever-reliable Johnny Leadings, chimed in with 35. Sue Holland had a good 32, as well as Rob Stiglbauer on 32. Brian Hazelnuts come in with 31, while old One Cloud Ciotis come in with 30. So that rounded out their scoring for the Crusaders.
Before we go on, I want to know, you've been all over John Leading here for the first few weeks, and now he's your saviour.
Well, he was in one of the last groups as well, so come up with the goods. But it's all about the Tornadoes though. Like the Tornadoes, Paddy Kennedy, the one who I ripped last week for only 18 points, he actually top scored for the Tornadoes with 32 alongside Johnny Hill. I think Johnny might need a new set of clubs and a new putter, and that might lift him to the next level. Judy Said had 30, Sean Ward 30, and Jeff Holland had 29. So as alluded to, the hair-said Stafe was a tight tussle, but the Crusaders got over the top of him again. Paddy Kennedy actually played with Mickey McNeil that day, and Mickey was the best scorer of the day, and he couldn't lift him. Bernie Reid, first game for the season, Misley 26. So even his inclusion couldn't improve the Tornadoes.
And Sue got the chocolates in the Holland stash.
She did, yep. She took the down, obviously, with the individual win and also their team win.
Extraordinary. Now let's stay at the bottom half of the ladder. Not quite as meaningful, I suppose, but still a very important result. A very good form turnaround from the Picton Street Pirates.
Yeah, the Pirates actually smashed the Bullies this week, 165 to 145. As said before, Mickey McNeil converted to 40 points, best of the day, actually won the monthly medal. Followed by Joy Francis, 32, Justin McGrath, 31, Yvette Pollock, 30, and then also Pete Solahub and Darren Heaton, the captain and vice-captain, had 30, so that was their best score of their 5, the lowest. And then the Bullies, Jackie Rowe led the way again with 31, the Frenchman Marley 30, Kev Hudson 28, Johnny Wooten 28, and Bill Reid 28. It was an easy win really for the Pirates. Maybe he was out early and maybe just decimated the opposition with his 40 and they just couldn't recover from that. Very difficult to win though when 31's your best score in your team for the Bullies with Jackie Rowe.
He's been pretty heavily engaged, Mickey, hasn't he? Like he's into this competition.
Yes, yeah. A few of the guys have been. Watched the videos and out starting to practice and using the sim room as well prior.
Really?
So yeah, with the sort of the bad weather, they're getting out there and using that to some good effect and others not so.
All right, let's head to the other end of the table, Matty. The massive match between the Hood Road Hookers, who were previously unbeaten, against the 20 Acre Warriors a showdown for the ages.
Yes, another tight tussle here with the Hookers going down 163 to the Warriors 165. For the Hookers, Kenny Hughes bobbed up with a 36, Brian Barrell 34, President 33, Lynn Kirby 31, and then we had Jill Barker and the sheep farmer Ian Party on 29. That was their lowest of their team, while the Warriors were led by Stewie Anderson out early with 37, Darren Wilson 34, Neil Keskin had 30, but then we also had Ando Wooten on 32 and Nipper Dodds 32. So they were just pretty consistent across the board.
He's responded, Ando, since you clipped him.
He did. The Hookers actually was a pretty good effort considering they didn't have Al Sweeney, Ian Woodhouse, but the inclusion of Brian King didn't help the Hookers, unfortunately. He was seen going putt around the course, but his inclusion didn't really help.
I thought we got past the, what was it, the steamboat, what was it?
The Cooter boat.
The Cooter boat.
Yeah, the Cooter, putt. That's what Brian does a lot on the course.
Dear. Now, the other match in the top four, Matty, was another absolute cliffhanger and a cracker between the Peakers, the brilliant Peakers, and the Granny's Corner Goblins.
The Peakers did it again. 169 to the Goblins 167. Goblins were in front majority of the day until the last group come in again, which was led by Lee McMurray. 37 points for the Peakers.
You've potted leading, etc., but you've ripped Lee McMurray a month ago. Like, you absolutely slaughtered him here. And ever since then, he's looked like Sevi by a steroid.
Yep, I have to eat my words. He has surprised me.
And what's more, man, he's consistent.
Well, he is. He's surprised me and he's surprised a lot of other people. But I can't say anything negative because he come up with the goods, 37 points. Norma Vogel chimed in with 35. Greek God Yanni had 34. Chrissy Dodds 33 and Julie Milne 30. That sent out the Peakers scores. While for the Goblins, our elder statesman Pete DeFazio come in with his best score of the tournament so far on 36. Toby Prime, who's copped a bit of crap over the last couple of weeks, he was 34. Dan Hopgood 34, Robbie Moorcroft 32, and then Flea Pollock, and then Rick Edmondson actually got to 30. He had 31, and was heard that he caused the Goblins to lose because he only had 31.
Oh, so he's still in the top five, and you're still going to rip him?
Yep, he choked.
Just straight out choked?
Yep.
Really?
Yep, and he admitted it.
Wow.
It was his there for the taking, and he couldn't get it done.
It's good to see Toby Prime back in the 3-2-2-3 sort of neighbourhood. He hasn't been around for
many a month. I see he's back down to play this week as well. So hopefully he can perform for the Goblins in the upcoming round.
And that leaves, for the first time, we've got a clear leader. I wouldn't say runaway, but we've got a clear leader on top of the Neville Richards Premier League ladder. Let's have a quick look at it now. So there, Matty, it's the Peakers now on top, 5-0, beautiful percentage. Things are just looking on the up for those guys. So extraordinary. They were sort of a controversially named team, and they've just rolled with the.
They have. They've performed really well. Obviously undefeated. They can't do any better than that. They've got a consistent across the board, which has been good. But I suppose for the teams that are at the lower portion of the ladder, it is important to still continue to turn up and play because you never know over this winter period as to whether your teammates will turn up even in the opposition as well. So I do know there are a few people that are going away for 2, 3, 4 weeks over the winter. So don't give up because there is a chance that there may be teams that don't have full strength for the next period of time.
I also want to point out, and just while we're on how well the Peakers are going, we'll come to the preview in a minute, but I'm prepared to say that Lee McMurray, after only 5 rounds, has played his way into the All Portarlington team. I don't think he can be knocked out right now. And with our count, which is, we are just determining the final name still, but it's our equivalent of the Brownlow. He's the runaway leader.
Well, potentially.
Potentially?
Yeah, well, going by the current market, he probably would be, but we still have 9 rounds to go.
He can get run down.
Yeah, but he has got a strong starting point.
Yeah, so keep that in mind if you want to play yourself onto the All Portarlington team, which is going to be one of the the most honoured badges you can wear around town. It's going to be amazing.
It is.
So you keep fighting for that one too. Now, Matty, let's have a quick check of the matches coming up in round 6. The first one, it's a really important game for a couple of teams just outside the 4.
Yeah, the Crusaders up against the Pirates. So we've got 6th versus 5th here. They are both coming off a win last week, and their scoring actually was very similar through that round last week. They will both be pushing hard, and if results go their way, they could even sneak into a top 4 spot here. So the top 4 scoring players from each team are very evenly matched throughout the first 5 rounds, but both teams need a big lift from the bottom tier players who haven't performed as yet. The Crusaders need Billy Adams, Lee Ciotis, Jan Cogger and Norm Evans to stand up, while the Pirates need Johnny Crossett, Yvette Pollock, Gary Thompson and also Darren Heaton to fire up. I have heard that the Pirates are actually got player management this week.
Oh.
They're managing a couple of their players who are unavailable for selection due to injury, if you want to call it. No, I shouldn't say injury, to try and keep their performance at the peak. So yeah, Mr. Solahub and Mrs. Francis are out this week through player management. I got that on good authority.
Really?
That's why they will be missing. Yeah.
Player management. It's spread.
Yeah, so with Solahub out and Darren Heaton, who hasn't performed as vice-captain, I'm thinking Justin McGrath might have to stand up and inspire his team.
Justin McGrath got a bit lippy with me at the footy on Saturday.
Did he?
About these videos. Yeah, it was tense there for half a second.
Yeah, okay. Well, this will even get him going, so he needs to lift.
He does need to lift. Now, the second match for preview, Matty, is one that's, on paper, looks to be all Warriors.
It does. Looks to be a mismatch. Big mismatch here. Warriors look too strong on paper. The Warriors' 2 losses were actually against the Goblins and the Peakers, so they've got good, strong form, and last week they beat the Hookers. What can we say about the Tornadoes? They're just not producing.
You've said it all.
I gave them a bit of a clip last week, but the Warriors would be looking for a percentage booster, and if Ando, Richie Howes, Barry Doyle and Jeanette Johnson can produce something like their best, the Tornadoes need everyone to lift. Everyone. It was heartening to see a couple of their players come in for a bit of late night or early morning practice to sharpen their skills. One of their players, Sean Ward, actually tried to mimic Lee McMuffin from 3 weeks ago. He showed passion, snapped a club in anger,
wow,
but he could only amass 30 points.
So it cost him a club and he still only got
30, but it was his best round for the year, so...
Oh, well, small steps, I suppose. I'm intrigued. Did Pat Kennedy give you any sort of feedback at all?
Yes, Pat accepted the roasting he got, and then at about 10:30 Friday night, I got a message to book the simulator before golf Saturday morning. So he rolled in an hour and a half before tea time and practiced before and had his best round and was the leading scorer for the Tornadoes.
Are you turning this into a sort of a pro shop sales spiel?
Well, if that works, it works. It'd be nice for him to come and use it for a change.
The third match for preview, Matty, is another one that looks a little bit wonky on paper, but you never know with the Bullies. The Granny's Corner Goblins, though, they're pretty hot.
They are very hot. Actually, I've got written here it's a danger game for the Goblins because the Bullies are just inconsistent at the moment. They just can't get everyone on the park. But it looks like it could be a whitewash too. Like the Goblins, their top 5 players in their team score higher than the Bullies' leading scorer so far this season.
Oh, wow.
So the Goblins have had 5 really strong performers, but you only need 1 or 2 of those missing, and then all of a sudden the pressure comes back down onto the lower scoring players. So we need, for the Bullies, we need Chris James, Malesy, Wayne Dixon, Kev Hudson. They haven't hit their straps yet, and they really need to lift. Matty Miles is actually out there playing today in the rain.
The driving rain of Tuesday morning.
So I think they need to actually come up with. Also, we need a bit more from Bill Reid and Jackie Rowe as well. If they can produce their regular scores, that will go a long way to helping them be successful. The Goblins will see a return of Jen Edmondson hopefully this week, who was sort of a late withdrawal on Saturday. They will be still missing Gary Hayward, who's competing in a tournament in Townsville as we speak. He's gone up there for a golf event, so he'll be up there in the sunshine. And they also need Marion Keskin and Rick Edmondson and David Milne to lift if they want to get over the top. Because if the Bullies bring their A game, they'll be a big chance to topple the Goblins.
Now this brings us to, well, this is a blockbuster. by any measure, Matty. It's the top of the table clash. The Hood Road Hookers, previously unbeaten until last weekend, against the untouchable Madonna's Peakers.
Yes. Match of the round, match of the season, whatever you want to call it. They've had continuity of players each week, which certainly helps for stability of the team. And there's actually less than 1% separating them on percentage.
Is that right?
Through the first 5 rounds. So the Peakers have the three of the best 5-point scorers in the league. So that just shows how consistent they've been at the top of the ladder there. If either team is to win, they are going to need a lift from those bottom players. But the question is, can Yanni, Dodsey and Leroy continue their high-level scoring? Hookers...
And what do you think about that?
I think Chris and Yanni will. Lee, Lee's good. He's in good form, so I've got to stop hanging on him.
5 minutes ago, you had to pay him his due respect.
I've got to give him his respect. He was going to join us for our video today, but for the 3rd week in a row has failed to show. But anyway, we'll get him on eventually. He's got some enlightening conversation to have with us through here. The Hookers could still be without first round hero Woody. So Woody, I believe he's undergoing an MRI this week to see the severity of the shoulder. He had a cortisone in last week to try and get on the field last Saturday, and due to medical advice, he was unable to play. So he could be another man down on Saturday.
He did look a little bit more limber than when we first saw him after the injury.
Yeah.
Just slow burn.
Yeah, so the MRI this week to determine the extent, and he's really missing it too.
Is he?
Yeah. He wants to get back for Premier League. So depending on the result of the MRI, hopefully you can get back the following week, or maybe he must have wait after the bye and then resume in round 8. So
a bit more management, do you think?
Yes, yeah, very much so.
Now that's it for our video this week. We want to again thank Callaway, our primary sponsors down in the Pro Shop. Just go along, see these awesome products down there, Matty. They've done a great job for you and for us and for all of us. Yeah,
they have. Yeah, it's been fantastic. The guys, well, actually, it's probably really only the Peakers have been winning the golf ball. So would one of you other teams win so we can give the balls to someone else?
Actually, we didn't check that off. Who actually had the?
Yeah, the Peakers were the high scorers again, 4 weeks in a row.
They'll have a Callaway truck delivering them stuff soon.
Yep, so the Goblins were the first week, and then the Peakers have been the next 4. So
wow.
We need a new team to jump to the top of the tree there and knock off the Peakers.
And I've mentioned that Luke Campbell would be coming in to cut your hair off. Obviously, we had to reschedule him. So big thanks to Luke. We will get him in soon from our primary sponsors, Neville Richards. Get around them, and anyone who's considering coming to town, point them in Neville Richards' direction. Matty, that's just about it for the Week 5 review and the Week 6 preview. I'm glad to see. I was a bit nervous about how the fonts would sort of reflect the light, so we've dodged a bullet there.
No, it's all good, Hazy. I always enjoy getting you a Canadian club, so I'd like to thank my sponsor, CUB and Canadian Club.
Thanks again, Julie Milne. Well played. That's it, everyone. We'll be back next week for another wrap-up of another big week of the Neville Richards Premier League.
Thanks, guys.